Chicago 88.3 FM, The Wizard, Chicago's home for freeform since 1974. I have the pleasure and honor of speaking with Daniel Knox. What's going on, Daniel?
Hi there. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you great. Yeah. How are things? Are you out in the other part of the world?
I am. I'm in Porto, Portugal. If you hear funny noises, that I live above a barber shop where, for some reason, all the children like to come and smoke cigarettes in front of it. But
The
hopefully, it's not
children.
too distracting.
No worries. It sounds fine to me. Well, cool. Portugal. How do you like it out there?
Well, I love it. It's really nice weather. We just kind of got out of the rainy season. I live in Porto specifically, and it's fantastic.
Oh, I do hear the children. It kind of puts some cool ambiance into it. Totally into it. I'm glad you prefaced that. Well, everybody, we're talking to Daniel Knox today, who is a wonderful artistic human being. As I hit my mic, because I'm so excited to talk to you. Projectionist at the Music Box Theater for over 20 years. Does his own music. You were just hearing some right before this, and is doing this amazing retrospective for David Lynch coming up in April here. So we're real excited you're back on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, from what I understand, you guys were planning on doing this David Lynch retrospective before David passed, correct?
Yeah, it was actually just a couple weeks before. I had been in Chicago to play a concert, and I met with Ryan at the Music Box there, and we talked about it, and both agreed it was a good time to do another one. And I had started planning things and putting some things together, and I literally found out the day that I got back in Portugal. And literally the day, like the moment I got home, I found out. And interestingly, there was already a David Lynch retrospective, a smaller one going on here in town. And I think Studio Canal had different ones going on in Europe at the time. So that night I went and watched The Elephant Man, which was a very, very strange thing to watch. If you know about that film and how it ends, like to watch that after receiving that news, it was really intense. But I think, we understood that once we knew about that the scope of this and the uh, that it needed to be something really grand and really special.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think we're all still mourning his loss. Such a great human, and I know you've followed his work. What, since you were young, right? You've been a fan of David Lynch since you were in your teens, or maybe earlier than that.
Yes, since I was about 13, because my friend's older brother turned me on to the music from Fire Walk with Me, which I watched before the series, which you're not supposed to do, but I didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know.
I know. There's an argument for watching it that way after you've already seen it. I think it kind of makes the pilot a little more compelling. But at the
Yeah,
time, Bravo TV, before it became what like Real Housewives and things, like they were re-airing the episodes, and so I was taping them and watching them and kind of compulsively finding everything I could, every little artifact, because in the 90s, it was just kind of this failed TV show that people didn't, it didn't have the cult status that it appreciates now. It had a cult status of its own at the time, but it's nothing like it became. And so it was this thing that I had to kind of uh, excavate bookstores and magazines for clues about and various things.
yeah, that makes sense completely. So they turned you on to the music of Fire Walk with Me first. That's how it all started, or you watched the film, you said, and then went to Twin Peaks, the series.
I bought the cassette tape of the soundtrack, and I listened to it on a rainy trip to Wisconsin with my mom and my stepdad, and it just, looking at all the pictures on the cassette artwork just made me wonder so much about what it was and what it could be. And I had all these ideas of what Twin Peaks might be just from listening and looking at those pictures. And then when I finally saw it, I just was hooked and transported.
I love it. So it was Twin Peaks that brought you in first before any of his other works. And then what an interesting way to go. I like that you're saying that there is an argument to say you could go that way if you've already seen it. Because yeah, it makes the pilot a little more compelling. That makes total sense to me. Tell us about now, you worked at the Music Box Theater and you were kind of the David Lynch guy. Everybody knew you liked David Lynch when you worked there, right?
Right. Yeah. So I started out at Music Box at the concession stand, and I kind of graduated towards projection. And I ran the midnight shift. I really liked working the midnight shift, and I always tried to put my own spin on the films when we showed them. As audiences were coming in, I like to pick the music, and I like to show clips of things. When we did Ninja Turtles or Batman or something, I would show action figure commercials and really just things that were thematic to what you're about to see, and to sort of bring everybody in. And I enjoyed doing that, and I started doing special screenings whenever we would have a Lynch film for a midnight, and they were nice enough to let me put something together. So that's how our first Lynch retrospective in 2017 came together, and that was, I believe, 5 days, so half the amount of what we're doing this time.
Wow. Okay, cool. So that was the first one in 2017, and then there was one like 2022 that you also did, correct?
Yeah, right after I moved over here, I came right back and we did one that was about 8 days, and it was exhaustive. We showed everything, and my criteria was, for that one, my criteria was if David Lynch wrote it, directed it, or picked up the camera, we're showing it. And I will say that the same criteria applies for this one, with maybe even a sharper lens and a little bit more of a zoomed out perspective at times. So like kind of in that same sort of spirit of Blue Velvet, like looking at the small insect world, but also kind of zooming out to see the whole neighborhood. That's how I'm looking at it this time.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. So there's a lot of surprises and special little thematic things that you're kind of adding to it. Tell us about some of those things that we can look forward to, because this is starting the 11th of April and it goes until the 20th, right? So this is a long one
That's
as
right.
well.
So I can't tell you about all the surprises. I can just say a few things. I'll say that, you know, we have On the Air, which is a special screening. We're showing episodes 1 and 7. Now I chose not to show the episodes in between because you can see them elsewhere. 1 and 7 are the more Lynch, like he directed and wrote those respectively, and we're showing something after that I don't want to spoil, but like you just got to stay in your seat. It's a little. It makes it into a longer program. It's something really special that a lot of people have been asking me about. I want people to be there for that. The other one I would really want people to know about. I mean, and this is true about almost every show. Like, there's going to be in the last show of the night, there's going to be something else. But it's true of all different sorts of shows. So come early for the pre-shows that are about 20 minutes long, and then stay late for the late nights. But on the 17th, which is a Thursday, that's our Twin Peaks night, and we have Fire Walk with Me, of course. We have pie and coffee is going to be served, and there's going to be a real live great horned owl from the Stillman Wildlife Center that you can get a picture with and interact with in the lobby. But there's going to be, let's just say, we're showing Fire Walk with Me, but George Griffith from Twin Peaks: The Return is going to be there, and there's going to be something very, I'll just say, kind of explosive that we're going to show after that, and not just that. So you're really going to want to stay in your seat for most things that you have a ticket for, unless I say otherwise while I'm there.
Oh man, I love the surprises and the twists and turns. I mean, that's what Lynch was about. So you're doing it right in the sense of it's not just what you see in the programming. Get there early and stay late, which is usually
Yes.
not something that they're saying at the movie theater, but you are, and you're telling us to do that. So every showtime for those shows come 20 minutes before to kind of see or hear your introduction. Is that kind of the idea?
Just about every showtime. So what you're going to want to do is either get a program, which they'll have at the theater, or you can look on our website at musicboxtheater.com. and it'll tell you if there is or isn't a pre-show. I can tell you that just about every Lynch film has a pre-show, and some of the ones that are not Lynch films have pre-shows as well. So for instance, we're showing The Hidden, which was not directed by David Lynch, but it stars a young Kyle MacLachlan as an FBI agent, and it's a really fun movie, and I thought it made a great midnight to put in there. So I'm going to put a pre-show of classic Kyle MacLachlan trailers and clips that runs before that film. So that's just one example. We also have, The Wizard of Oz. I'm doing a pre-show for that. And The Wizard of Oz is going to be shown as a triple feature, what I'm seeing as a triple feature with Lynch Oz, the documentary, and Wild at Heart, which, as we know, is very inspired by Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. Ooh, this is going to be cool. I mean, I know there was series passes, so for like the diehards, people could get a pass and just go to any of them. But now they're individually being sold on the Music Box Theater website. Is that correct?
That's not, so the passes did sell out right away. So those
Yeah.
are no longer available, but individual tickets for shows are available still for most shows. I believe there might be a couple shows that are sold out now. I don't know which ones. I know that the
Yeah.
Mary screening of Mulholland Drive was selling out, was going really quick. So anybody who wants to see something should act soon.
Absolutely, that's what I was thinking. So yeah, the passes are totally sold out for the series passes, but if you go to the website, you can go individually by each show and check the time, and then hopefully get yourself a seat in the house. Have they done some renovations to the Music Box recently since this last retrospective? I can't remember.
Yes, I think it was for the 90th anniversary. They redid the seats, and they remodeled things, and I was in there to see it last time I was in town, and it's really nice. It's really tasteful, and nothing. Obviously, I'm very precious about those things. Like, I don't want them to change anything. I was like, I didn't even like it when they made the new concession stand. Although from an operations perspective, it's like that old concession stand. A funny thing most people don't know about that old concession stand, when it was on the other side of the lobby, that was built for the movie Curly Sue, for a scene that got cut from the movie, and the previous owners, I believe, like, were keeping it as the concession stand for a long time. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not, but I liked it because that's the concession stand that I worked at. But no, so the remodel, they've really just kind of strengthened everything that's there.
That's great. It's nice. I mean, that place is just so iconic and so wonderful. Tell us the most exciting, like what you're looking forward to presenting the most on this one. Moving Through Time is what it's called, right? This is the
Yes.
name of
David
it.
Lynch, Moving Through Time. I mean, there's so much I'm looking forward to. I have, let me see, I have the list here. So there's a free screening for the first day, and I'm showing all of David Lynch's commercials. So all of the commercials that he's ever directed, I'm showing all of those in the highest quality that I've been able to put together. That's a free screening, and it's includes some short films that I thought were like maybe something good to watch after you're watching commercials, and not necessarily after you're watching a feature. I'm really excited about that.
Cool.
We have screenings of Blue Velvet and Wild at Heart with editor Duwayne Dunham. We have Mary Sweeney, who edited, Lost Highway. She Fire Walk with Me, Mulholland Drive. She wrote Straight Story. She's coming for
Wow.
Straight Story and Mulholland Drive, and so many guests. I can't remember, but Scott Ryan of the Blue Rose magazine is going to be doing all the interviews, because I would just be kind of a nervous weirdo interviewing these people. I'm much better introducing the film briefly and getting the show on the road. Scott is much better at conversation and that sort of thing. So he'll be there to do that.
That's wonderful. I love it. Yeah, I'm looking here at Charlotte Stewart's going to be in the house at
Yes.
some point. Wow. I mean, there's a lot of things to look forward to. I mean, this is a big endeavor. How long does it take to set something up like this?
Well, last time it was about 3.5 to 4 months, and it's kind of been the same thing here. I as we get closer, I always wish there was more time, but I also know that like the pressure and of trying to fit everything in and make everything work. It's a bit of playing Tetris with time in a way, but I think about 3 to 4 months is probably the best way, because otherwise, you know, too much time would be not enough.
Absolutely, that makes total sense. Oh man, this sounds really cool. You got the pie, you've got the coffee, you've got the winged, the owl coming. Like those are special guests, and that's, I really wanted to, get all the way out to Washington to celebrate David Lynch. I've seen what they've been doing out there from the Lodge, the Great Northern, as they say. And I'll get there one day, but I haven't been able to get there yet. So it's really cool that you guys are bringing it to Chicago and bringing some sort of way to celebrate this man's insane, amazing career.
Yeah, it's I've been out to Snoqualmie a couple of times, and in North Bend, and they do some amazing things out there. The North Bend Theater out there has been doing some screenings too, and I think they're starting to make it more regular, and the town is starting to, embrace it a lot more. One other guest I didn't mention is, I think I mentioned him briefly, but George Griffith, who's going to be there for our Twin Peaks night. He's also bringing a film of his own, a 35 millimeter print of a film that he directed that David Lynch loved called From the Head, and he's going to be there with that. And really excited to meet him, really, because he's just such an interesting guy, and he was so great in The Return. And then after his screening, we have a Q&A with him with Scott Ryan, but then we're showing something else that bears a similarity in that it was made in one location. If you can kind of guess as to what that might be in Lynch's work, we're showing that after his film. So that's another one I really want to bring people to see, because I'm trying to not just show the totality of Lynch's body of work, but also things that are in the orbit of that work and made by his collaborators and made by people who inspired him and who he inspired.
Wow, that's really cool. That's really cool. So he's bringing his own film, George Griffith, and is he showing that at some point?
Yeah, he's showing that film, and it's called From the Head, and we're going to have one screening with that and a Q&A, and then a special thing that's going to be afterwards.
Awesome. Yeah, so there's a couple other things on there that I'm excited about that I haven't seen yet. For instance, the Jack Nance documentary, that's one of the days.
Yes, actually, so Richard Green, who directed that, will be there. It's called I Don't Know Jack. It's fantastic. But the really big news is that the new documentary that he directed about Catherine Coulson, who played the Log Lady, is showing the day before that, and he's going to be there for that screening as well. And that's
the second thing I was so excited about. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying those are the two documentaries that I was like, oh sweet, they're on the bill here. And then I had just started hearing about the Log Lady documentary. I didn't know it was anywhere near being finished. So
it's getting a lot of attention. It's getting a lot of really good reviews and write-ups, and people are really excited about it. And yeah, we have a lot of other documentaries too, like David Lynch, The Art Life, and the last screening. So I want to really plug this because I really want people to come. I know it's kind of a big ask. It's sort of a marathon, but on our last day, it happens to be Easter Sunday. So following a screening of Inland Empire, we have a free screening of Rabbits, which I think is highly appropriate for Easter. And then Lynch One, which is a really great documentary about the making of Inland Empire, and then the other feature that is basically made of a side story to Inland Empire called More Things That Happened. So if you are a true Lynch fan, this day is going to be the day to sort of strap in and lock into your focus and really just let it all kind of hit you.
Wow, that's really cool. I noticed that. I was like, oh, okay, so April 20th, it's Easter, and you've got rabbits playing, and then in the Lynch
Right.
one, and more things that happen, and that's free. So that's really a great way to end it and let people come in who's been there, some of the days or all the days.
Yeah.
Uh, and I mean, these days are curated from the beginning of the day till the end of the day. Like you could literally just sit at the music box all day, run and grab some food, come back, meet another friend, meet a friend for this one. Like it's pretty cool. And when I did it last time in 2022, I couldn't stop coming back. Like I would go to one and the feeling in there, the people coming together and meeting people, it was addictive. Like I wanted to be back, the
I'm
next
glad to
night.
hear that. I want it to feel like a Lynchian sphere and an environment. And striking that tone is really important to me because I think there's a way to do it that makes it feel like a convention where everybody's like waiting in line and it's kind of about something different, and that's not to put shade on the convention atmosphere. I think that really has a place and at certain screenings, but this I want to be about the films, and I really just want it to be about all of us kind of coming together, and with a sense of fellowship about these films and paying a respect and homage to them, and in a place like the Music Box where film is so important and taken so seriously, but also it's just a good time with people that care about the same things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I'm missing him every day, and it doesn't feel like David Lynch is totally gone because he's such an, enigma. He's just with us. I don't know, like because of the way he sees the world and if you're affected by his work, I don't know, he feels like this bird on my shoulder, like someone who's still in here with us. And, I know it's been hard for a lot of people because it kind of happened drastically or quickly, it seems like, because he seems like he could have lived forever, right? Like you got to
Well,
meet him at one point,
I
so
did get to meet him, and it's interesting. Putting all of this together has been for me a way to process the loss of someone that was such a huge part of my life. I only met him once, but I there wasn't a day I wasn't thinking about his work or being inspired by his work, implementing it in some facet of my life. And I thought it was really beautiful the way that people responded to his loss with a kind of, it didn't seem grim. It felt almost joyous. It felt like people were bringing all of their best memories about him all at once, and it just lasted and lasted, and it's still going on. And I think that speaks a lot to the universality of his work, and you just don't see that with other people. It just doesn't. It just doesn't usually go that way. It's in the news for a bit and then it's gone. But this felt like uh, um, something special, and I think that we're gonna feel that, at the Music Box for these 10 days with everybody coming together and celebrating his work.
oh yeah, I think so too. I definitely think so. You're listening to WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM. We're talking to Daniel Knox all about the David Lynch Moving Through Time 10-day retrospective coming up April 11th through the 20th. And yeah, we were just talking about how he, to me, it feels kind of immortal in the sense that, I've heard in some of your interviews about how you would think about what is David Lynch doing right now? What is he doing, at this
Yeah.
moment? And I think we can still think that it's more of a spiritual thing. Like, what is he doing right now? He's up there having a really good cup of coffee, making people laugh, like,
Well, I don't personally believe in the afterlife. I don't personally believe our consciousness lives on. I think David Lynch did believe that, but that's not what I believe. But I think that, in the sense that we live on in our ideas and our works and our actions, I think that you know he will live on for a very long time through many other people, and the influence that I think he has left us with. I think that ultimately is the greatest, truest afterlife that there really is.
Very true. Very true. And I think people like yourself, who is keeping this alive and making sure that uh, this retrospective happens, that it's so curated in such a wonderful way, that means a lot, and that I think makes his life and work live on. So, can you give us a little glimpse into what it was like to meet the man, the myth, the mystery, David
Yeah,
Lynch?
well, he speaks with his hands. He speaks with his hands in a way that it feels like he's sort of receiving and transmitting a broadcast right through like a antenna. He has this way of waving his hands around, almost like a magician, you know. But he he also seems just. I think that when you meet him in person, the veil is lifted and you see him. He's a human being. He's a person. You know, he's a magician. He's not uh, uh, supernatural. And I think that there was actually something really valuable for me in that because I to this like I didn't worship him like a god or anything, but I think um, when you don't meet somebody like that, you don't know who you don't have that interaction, then uh, you tend to put them on a pedestal. It was nice just to see David Lynch eating ravioli, you know, and talking to people he works with, and having a normal conversation with him about random things. I remember talking to him about the. I asked him which film prints he owned of his own work, and he kind of thought about it, and he listed a few. I don't remember what he said, but he also said he said that in Italy they redubbed Blue Velvet into like pornography, and he kind of chuckled about that a little bit, but also seemed kind of mad about it. And also Justin Theroux called him on the phone while we were at dinner. I remember that very distinctly. Uh, you know, that's what it was. It was just an ordinary night out. I guess. I
I love
guess.
that.
I sometimes I wish I had like a better story, but it was really more like I think the most important part, the part I always forget to tell about that story, was that at the end of the night, when he got back into the car and left, I got to shake his hand and tell him what he meant to me. I got to tell him very very clearly, and it wasn't rehearsed. It wasn't something I thought up. It was just me very intentionally telling him how much his work meant to me, and that more than any of the other stuff was what was really important.
Oh, that's wonderful. And what was his response to that? Was he humble about it, or?
I think he was someone he struck me as someone who heard that very often, and
Yeah.
he took it with the grace of someone who appreciates it but does hear it very often, and that was fine for me. I didn't need anything more than for him to receive that and for me to be able to, you know what I mean, to just be
Wow.
able to tell him. It was more about me having the
Yeah.
opportunity to tell him than it was uh, anything he might do with that information.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, it wasn't something you rehearsed 25 times because you knew you were going to have the opportunity to do so. It just came out pure and you were able to do that. So that is the important part of that story is that you don't need anything better than that. The mundane eating a ravioli with David Lynch and being together in a room
Uh-huh.
is enough. But then to actually get to the chance to tell your favorite person how much they mean to you, that is something that not everybody gets. So definitely that's wonderful. I'm so glad that you did it and just poured it out without having like a rehearsed, oh David, this is how I feel, like it's
Well,
so much nicer.
however, I might have tried to, I think, imagine that moment going. There's no way that it would have gone exactly that way. So I
Right.
think it was better that I just spoke from the heart and was very simple. Um, and I'm glad that that's how it went.
Me too. I definitely think that's great. Thank you for sharing that. And after meeting David, what things happen in your career and your music that was like directly influenced by that or?
I mean, it's funny. He at the time he had just made Inland Empire, and that's what he was there to show. And um, I had quit film school because they told me like, oh well, you can't make a movie in your backyard with your friends on a video camera. And then I meet David Lynch for the first time, my hero, and that's exactly what he was doing. Right? He was making a movie with his friends on a video camera uh, uh, in his backyard in his neighborhood, and I think that caused me to be a little more free in my choices and less like I had to be measuring up to something, or that I needed the right equipment, or I needed to be at a certain point in my life for certain things to happen. I stopped waiting for that. But I think that there was also this really big moment for me where this guy in England, David Coulter, who I became very good friends with, saw the video of me playing the organ at the Music Box while David Lynch spoke, and that led to me, getting some performances in England and building a small career over there that I still got going with my music, and a lot of other things that just sort of came from that moment, which was obviously good.
Yeah, obviously, definitely good. And I love that, like you said, they said, "Oh, you're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to be a filmmaker." And it's like, but this guy is doing exactly what I
Yeah.
was doing. And so I think that's inspiring too. I think, a lot of what David Lynch did and just is inspiring. It's just
Yeah.
very inspiring. I feel like, the meditation stuff. Did you ever get into any meditation? And if so, was it inspired by him at all?
I have tried very hard to meditate. I am a failed meditator, I would say. Meditator, is that a word? I'm interested in it. I'm interested in the practice, and I've yet to like ever really try. I feel like maybe it would do a lot of good for me. I mean, my life moves so fast all the time. It's really hard for me to fathom slowing down. And if I'm being honest, like sometimes if I have tried to meditate, like I've thought to myself, did I meditate, or did I just take like a kind of a really weird nap? And that's not me knocking the practice of meditation at all.
Yeah.
I haven't ever been in the position to like sit down and do it with somebody that really knows how to do it. So I would say that like, I'm really interested in that, but I haven't, through him and his work, like followed that route. But I mean, there are also a lot of differences between David Lynch and I. I know he really likes sunshine, and I don't.
I like
So
to be totally in the dark. Yeah, totally.
I'd love to be totally in the dark. I love to wake up as soon as the sun's going down. That's my favorite thing to do. And I don't have the same experience with Los Angeles that he had, which isn't to say anything bad about Los Angeles. When I went there, I was kind of like, okay, all right,
I feel the same. Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, not my fave. Well,
Again, I think it's one of those things. I think somebody needs to show me the right Los Angeles, just like somebody needs to show me the right way to meditate and things like that.
totally. So yeah, I'm on the same page. Like I'm a go, 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 and like probably would be really good for me to like come down and actually do that. And I've been practicing it more. And in fact, his death, they had like a worldwide meditation, and I did
Yes.
participate in that, and that was really cool. And I feel like that's kind of helping me to get there, even if it's just sometimes I don't feel like I'm doing it right, or sometimes I don't feel like I totally got there, took a weird nap. But
Well,
I'm
I will say we have a free screening of Meditation Creativity Peace on the 14th for people who are curious about that, and the David Lynch Foundation. That's a free screening, so anybody can attend that.
That's exactly where I was going to go. I was going to say that's a free one. That's 2 o'clock on the 14th, Monday, April 14th, in Theater One. Meditation, Creativity, and Peace. I hope to be able to join in on that. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of different things where I go, I think about, I don't know if the word Lynchian is cool or not cool or overused, but there's just a lot of Lynchian things in life, and he brought those to us. And I think meditation is something that, again, I would love to learn. And because David Lynch did it, it's cool, right? But I love that there was a worldwide meditation for him. I love that, according to the legend, maybe he passed while he was meditating because he did it twice a day, every day. He said he never stopped, according to his book I've been reading. And wow, like just the man, the myth, the mystery. There's so much to it, and I love that. I love that you're bringing this to Chicago. It's really great. It's
Thank you.
super big for us. Yeah, this is something we need. Again, like I want to get out to Washington, but for everybody who can't be there, this is a great way to celebrate him.
Well, and one of the important things I want to stress too is like, in addition to all of these features and these classic films and the things in the orbit and the documentaries, there's a lot of shorts and there's a lot of experiments, and those are a lot of what we find in the pre-show material, and it's a lot of what we find in the sort of secret elements. If you're making a David Lynch retrospective, you have to have secrets, and that's where some of those things lie. But to me, those are so integral to the experience of a retrospective of his work, because he was so prolific and fearless and trying to just try things. And so you have a lot of these films that it's like 10 minutes of some ants, eating something, or it's him sitting in the backyard with his son wearing a funny hat and speaking in a weird way, or him talking with a monkey. And you have all these different things that he was just, or he was trying formats. I mean, as early as the 70s, he was making something called The Amputee, where he was just made a film for the specific purpose of testing two separate formats, video and film, and seeing which, he liked and didn't like. And all of these experiments, to me, make up the fabric of his work. And I feel like these little experiments and shorts and his advertisements and his music videos and his weather reports and all these things, they all kind of come together as these sort of separate, short little journeys on the way to the big classic films that we all know. And you get to see him in real time kind of practicing his craft and experimenting and just trying things.
That's amazing. I'm so happy that you're curating this and taking so much time to make these little things. Like, I heard you're going to get all the weather reports from as many as you can,
Oh, yeah.
strung together, right? That's a project you've been working on, like.
I am. One of the things I'm trying to do. I have all the old ones. Getting all the new ones, it's been a process, right? Like, you just have to kind of get them all. But I think he did over 950 in the last run.
Whoa.
And it is my plan, it is my intention to show all of those in sequence in the Music Box Lounge on a CRT television, with other things as well. I mean, I have other things planned to be just showing, So, I mean, even if you don't have a ticket to a show and can't make it, or the show's sold out, you can sit in our lounge and you can just listen to David Lynch talk about the weather and have a drink and meet folks, coming in and out. So there's really just no place you can go in the theater where there's so many visual surprises I don't even want to say anything about. I just want people to walk in and see it, and it's really going to be a beautiful atmosphere and something really, really special.
I love that. I'm so excited for this. It's going to be so great. And I feel like as we started this, you said, "Oh, can you hear me? There's kids in the background. There's noise." That's Lynch to me too, is like the ambiance of what's going on around you. And, it's been kind of cool. These like shh sounds that I'm hearing and things that, like mechanics and, a big sawmill. Who knows what I'm hearing back there, but it's all very, Lynch is with us. He's here with us hanging out, and I love that. Or maybe not in what you believe, but either way,
however you want to picture it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that this art, is definitely going to live on, and it's people like you who are bringing it to such a scale that, I mean, people, those passes sold out, instantly, pretty much for the whole. It was basically a package to go to any of the shows for a certain number, and it was like, man, if people are buying those like that shows just how much people need this, So.
Well, and I think that the one we did in 2022 was so special and so such a unique event that we have to do something that does the same thing even more, even bigger. And I think that the popularity of this just shows how great the fans of the Music Box are, and how nice that last one was. It really felt like, I mean, there are people that I met from that I'm still friends with to this day, that I just met in the lobby passing through and walking around. So it's going to be a really unique thing. And if it's more than just a screening, it's an immersion into his world. And I want to, if you can find a way to come be a part of it, you really should.
I love it. Well, tell everybody again where to go, when it's happening, and where to find tickets.
So it's a Music Box Theater in Chicago, Illinois, and It's at musicboxtheater.com. You can get individual tickets for most of the shows. I think one or two might have sold out, but most shows are available, and some of those screenings are free. You still can get a ticket. They are ticketed, but you can still get a ticket for those free screenings. And that is April 11th through the 20th. And I'll be there for every show, every day.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna be tired, but you're gonna love it, and it's gonna feel so good, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I remember last time you were there for each part, and I think that it just shows your commitment to this and really how beautiful it is to love something at 13 years old, to try to dress like a person or be like a person, then get to meet that person. You're living a dream that is, within a dream, and we're so grateful that you have brought it to us here in Chicago at one of the most iconic movie theaters in the city. So thank you so much for taking the time to get excited about this with us here at WZRD.
absolutely.
Appreciate it. Well, safe travels into Chicago, and we'll see you out there April 11th through the 20th.
Okay, see you soon.
Thanks, Daniel. Have a
Bye.
wonderful day. Bye-bye. It's WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM, The Wizard, Chicago's home for freeform since 1974. And we just talked to Daniel